Welcome to Look to the Moon podcast, bringing together two friends with stories that need sharing. Join us, Jodie and Nicole, as we navigate life after loss, discussing topics around birth, trauma and baby loss, and providing a safe space for others to share their stories. Start recording. Come on, Nicole, you take it away.
Oh, mind introducing.
Oh, so you give us an intro. You might have to make sure you speak clearly.
Clearly. I've had a drink, right.
Ready? Yeah.
20. Are we doing 20?
Yeah.
Okay. Hello everyone and welcome to Look to the Moon podcast. This is episode 20. I'm here with Jodie.
Hi.
And we also have a very special guest today who is one of our best friends, Sophie. Hi, Sophie.
Hello. Thank you for joining us for our podcast. We've been trying to get you
I was going to say, it's been a long time coming this.
So, if anyone who doesn't know Sophie is extremely popular and always has lots of plans and you can't nail her down. She's always busy. So she's actually here in person with us today, which is very nice.
Very exciting, yeah. So we've got... Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for joining us. We've got a lovely story that Sophie's going to share with us today. But first, let's talk about how we actually know each other. So, obviously, like I've just said, we're all best friends. But Jodie and Sophie have known each other. Besties.
Oh.
You've known each other a long time.
30 years now.
Yeah.
3 decades. I think we were in preschool together.
Oh my god.
So we went through preschool, primary school, high school, and then we obviously remained friends.
That makes us all sound that old.
Well,
30 years.
Well, it is. It's like when you say 30 years, it is. That's not an exaggeration. It's like 3 decades that we've known each other. And
I'm a late joiner.
You're a late. Well, not too late. We've got friends that have come even later.
That's true.
Yeah, but it was us that were close in high school, and then you sort of integrated into my friendship group.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so all us three together, our friendship was from high school, wasn't it?
Probably like 15.
Yeah.
15,
It was sooner than that. We were friends early high school.
Yeah,
we had technology together, didn't we? Did you have like textiles together?
I don't remember that, Jodie. I don't remember much about high school days. I've got a terrible memory. Yeah, no, I don't remember days. I just remember we always used to go to the cinema, Stockport Cinema.
Yeah.
Do you remember? We always used to get the train, go to Stockport Cinema. I remember that. Yeah, so...
Oh, how we digress. But we're older and wiser now, and we've all got family. Well, maybe not. But we're all now parents, mothers,
wives,
wives, or near as damn it, I suppose. Fiance.
Yeah,
which sounds
quite posh. That
it does. So you're not that posh. But yeah, so everyone knows who listens to the podcast. The podcast really is centered around some not very nice subjects. It's centered around people that have experienced baby loss, miscarriage, birth trauma, but you're coming at it from a different angle because you can fill us in with your setup at home shortly, but we've invited you on because you've had struggles with your fertility in the past. Which, if anyone's actually watching,
oh yeah, I love that.
On YouTube, you can see the video. You can see that Sophie is supporting a nice little baby bump. Little baby bump. Prominent baby bump. So we wanted you to come on to give sort of the people that have suffered with infertility a voice, really, because we've not really covered that area, but that is a part of becoming a mother and the journey of becoming a parent. So why don't you tell us what your setup is, who you've got at home, and then we'll start from the beginning of when you started trying and challenges you faced.
Okay. I'm Sophie. Yeah, as Jodie and Nicole have said, like one of best friends and known each other for a long time. But I've also known my husband for a long time. So me and Dad have known each other for probably about 20 years.
Does make you sound old.
Something like that, yeah.
Childhood sweethearts.
We've been together for 16, so there was a few years of A lot of chasing, not on my behalf.
I remember those days.
I know. Do you remember when we used to go to like house parties? And like, oh, here he is again, flocking around Sophie.
So eventually we ended up together. So yeah, we've been together since 2009. So yeah, 16 years. We got engaged in 2011. So we were engaged quite soon.
God, was it that quick?
Had quite a long engagement. Well, probably not that, like looking back on retrospect now, but we got married 10 years ago. So we've been married since 2015. So we've been together 16 years, been to married 10 years. We now have a lovely, beautiful little boy at home, Milo. He's just about to turn 2. So we did wait quite a while after we got married. It wasn't a let's get married and have children because we were...
In your defence, were you 23 when you were married?
I was going to say, I was quite young when we got married, so I was 23 when we got married, and we both knew at the time that it wasn't like... We knew family was on the cards, but not
you were
immediately.
In for any rush.
You did lots of lovely holidays.
Yeah, we did.
The things you can do before you have babies.
Yeah. Which we're glad of, now, but obviously we'll talk about that in a little bit. So yeah, we've got a beautiful little Milo at home, and I am currently pregnant with twins, so that was a big shock.
Surprise!
Like all the shocks in the right way and for the best things, but very shocked to find out we were pregnant, and obviously even more of a surprise to find out that it's twins. That's myself at home. That's where we are.
So you've obviously got Milo coming up for 2 years old. Obviously we know your story. Everybody else doesn't know your story.
Yeah.
How long were you trying to get pregnant before you got pregnant with Milo?
Trying to get pregnant probably about 2.5 years.
Prior to conceiving Milo?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that sounds about right.
2.
You look confused, but I think that's probably
I'm trying to
I think
we're there in the bedroom.
like conceived, like I don't know, just sort of about 2.5 years, which doesn't, I guess, like compared to some people's journeys, like that doesn't probably sound like a long time, but when you're in it, that's
a very long
excruciatingly long time.
No, but I think that is quite a lengthy period of time. It's like if you just said 6 months, then you go, oh yeah, well 6 months, you know, it what always surprises me is that when you are in your teenage years or you're in your early 20s and you're preventing pregnancy, and then people just get pregnant at the drop of a hat, and you're like, what? But it's so scientific with the actual times that you can get pregnant in your cycle.
It still confuses me now.
What is being caught out? If someone wants to tell me, I'd love to know.
Yeah, exactly. So 2.5 years.
There must be people that have sex every day, all day. Because otherwise...
Who's got the energy?
Oh, no.
Not me.
Not anymore.
But yeah, like, how do people fall pregnant by accident? I never understand that, because...
No, like, I was blessed in one respect, because I got pregnant quite quickly, and I've spoken quite openly that I had a miscarriage before I got pregnant with Bonnie, and I got pregnant pretty much first time with that first baby, very, very quickly, first attempt, again, very lucky. I hate the word lucky, hate it, because obviously we went on to lose that child, but then 8 weeks later I got pregnant straight away again with Bonnie. So, you know, we obviously at the end of our story we were quite unlucky, but from a fertility perspective we were shit hot on it, you know. So it's I can imagine how long 2.5 years felt.
But I think like a lot of it is like you've just said, like you don't expect that you're gonna have fertility problems.
No,
like
nobody knows.
You
until
go
you're
through
in it.
School, you go through your teenage years, like,
preventing
you
pregnancy.
must be on the pill, or you must use contraception, because you're made to believe that like
that
you're gonna have sex once and you're gonna have a baby and like you're gonna get caught out or whatever it is. So actually, like, and I think it's right. Like I've said this all throughout our journey. Like you shouldn't start thinking about starting a family thinking that you're gonna have problems. Like shouldn't that wasn't in our mindset, and that shouldn't be. Maybe there should be more awareness about it. Like people, I think. Women, well, not just women, but women and men there should be more awareness and more sort of, awareness of that it might not be within a month or within 2 months, but you definitely as a couple shouldn't start like this exciting, we're ready for a baby, we're ready to start a family.
Pregnant next month,
Like you shouldn't be thinking, but it might take us a year, 2 years. Like you should start in a really positive mindset, because it's a really exciting place to be. Like we were really excited to begin with, and then it's very soon didn't become as exciting.
So while you've got there, tell us about that. Tell us about those first few months. You've made the decision, we're ready to have a family.
Yeah.
When did those excited?
When did that mood change, and when did those concerns start?
To be honest, actually, it probably wasn't quite. This is maybe just think. It probably wasn't quite 2.5 years, because me and Dan, neither of us can say sort of like what the switch was. Like as I said, we got married 10 years ago. We had a lovely, like 7, 8 years of doing the holidays we wanted to do, like going
being
away
a
for
married
weekends,
couple,
just doing the things as a married couple that is nice to be able to do. Like like looking back on it, we feel really lucky, and we really feel really fortunate that we did have that time just as a couple, and especially with the struggles that we did have, we feel like that strength in our relationship helped. That we've got this and as a new parent, it's what I say all the time as a parent, like parenting is stressful. I know obviously you've done previous episodes about it, like it's the most stressful part of like on your relationship. So on a couple, it's the most stressful thing that you could possibly do is
put
have a child, have a family.
And like you say, strong couple that have been together 16 years,
like
it's still hard.
If we didn't have the base that we had, well, I'm not gonna sugarcoat things, like we've not been in a great place in the last 2 years, at times, it's really stressful, and it's all stress because you're both aiming for the same thing, but it's really stressful, and our foundation of a relationship has definitely got us through those times. So I completely understand now when you hear sometimes of people that have only been together, like not been together very long, and they have a family, and then they separate. I completely understand it, because we've got all those good times of being together and like we were best friends before we even started dating, so we've got all that foundation and all that time to sort of fall back on when times get tough and when it's been really horrible. But anyway, I've digressed, haven't I? So I can't tell you sort of
you've not got a pinpoint where you sat down and said, let's have a baby.
Because with COVID happened, and I think we both knew that COVID wasn't the right time. Like we'd had, we started trying stuff as we came out of COVID, but thinking about it, I remember Nicole coming round and telling us, and I think we'd had some conversations before this point, but the day that you came round and sat in our kitchen, you came to our house
with a cupcake,
with your cupcake, and you told us that you were pregnant with obviously Lila now. Something definitely like that.
It's like we need
day
a
was
baby.
like this, like we started having conversations, and I think.
So when would that be? So Lila was born in 2021. So that would have been 2020.
So it was
COVID,
through COVID. I think I guess the first. I think it was post first lockdown or whatnot.
Because when did you find out you were pregnant?
I'm trying to. COVID. We were obviously bored.
June time. You obviously got pregnant. That's 9 months prior.
That you told me. I remember, that's what I mean. It sticks in my mind.
So September 2020.
Because we'd moved house through COVID. We'd completed our house in the March, moved it in the June. So I think then we knew that. We're in the right place, and it feels right in this house, and I think we just sort of got to the point then that we knew. And then when you came round and told us you were pregnant with Lila, I think I was like, this is what I want. This is what I really want. So probably from that point, I think we'd sort of not started trying, but
if it happens, it happens.
But from when you saying I'm pregnant and obviously having a baby, we were like, this is what we want. We know that we're there. Probably from then.
You never told me that before.
No. It's quite nice to share things that you didn't know. So that would be 2020.
Did you have any expectations at that point of how long it'll take, or did you just think it'll just happen?
Yeah, because I just think
Quickly.
that's what, like...
That's what happens.
And
You have sex and
probably,
you get pregnant.
like, maybe
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was really naive to it. Like, Dan says the same, like, he was definitely
But what you don't know...
naive. But you don't
No.
You don't
You don't know.
And,
Yeah.
like, you don't do any... Like,
Oh,
you
we
do,
sound
like,
so
your
old.
sex-
We don't
I
know what we don't know.
No,
Yeah.
but it's, like, Dan jokes now because of our experience. He's like, I know more about
Oh my God,
a female
Dan could tell
cycle
us more than I know
than
about the female
most
reproductive
women.
system.
Shall I get a new co-host?
Yeah.
He's like,
Yeah.
I know more about, like, that
He knew more about your cycle than you knew.
than I knew.
Yeah.
And looking back on it, like I've never had. I'm probably showing a bit too much information.
No,
but
go for
I've
it.
never had overly regular periods. Like when I came off the pill in 2018, not because
I was just going to
No,
say,
yeah,
were you
yeah.
on any contraception
no
that you
so
had to like get out of your system?
I was on the
You'd
pill
been-
from being 17 to 2018. So
Yeah.
and my
Oh,
maths.
I can't do that one.
Oh,
It's
no,
not
it's too
really.
late for that.
But
What's
But
that?
that-
2009.
That's 6 years.
9 years.
Yeah, 9
About
years.
9
So
years.
the best part of 10 years,
God, that hurt my brain.
I was on the pill. Like,
Yeah.
got in a relationship. Obviously, that
Yeah.
starts happening. Like, went on the pill.
Yeah.
Did the clever thing. But it came off the pill in 2018, but not for
Yeah.
thinking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
family. Like when I first came off contraception, there was no, oh, well, maybe we should do this because
Yeah.
we're starting family.
For other reasons.
Like, I'm obviously I'm happy to share. It was for my mental health. Like
Yeah.
I was having. It's the only time. Well, before fertility.
Yeah.
I went through a stage of sort of struggling with anxiety and looking back, probably like a little bit of depression. I couldn't tell you why,
Yeah.
but definitely more sort of on the anxiety side. So I went on to different medication, and at that time it was just decided, obviously, for balance and trying to balance everything out, like came off the pill.
Yeah.
So I've not been on the pill since 2018.
Yeah, so the contraception was never an issue in terms
No,
of...
like
they do
thinking
say
that
that
it takes however long to get out your system,
Yeah.
you should start, like, you should come off a year before, because that's what they say, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which,
So you
now
get your
looking
natural
you-
cycle
makes
back
it-
and
yeah,
all of that,
exactly.
yeah.
So I've never had, after I came off the pill, it took me 18 months to have a cycle. So
Right.
looking back now, maybe that should have been more of an indication that my body doesn't quite do what I feel like a
Yeah.
standard.
and like female cycle should be. And then ever since it returned, I've never had like 4 weeks. It's never been a 28-day cycle. So I've always been quite
Unlike
irregular.
Jodie,
No, exactly.
Yeah, apologies if you feel like this is too much information to share. I can always bleep it out. But were you quite a late bloomer?
Yes, I didn't start my period until I was 15.
I
So
was
yeah,
11.
later than
But I was
average.
15 as well
Yeah.
when I started. So I like...
Hell, I was 11 years old.
Yeah, you had hard. Like,
11.
I was still playing
I
with
bet I'll go
Barbies
through the
at 11.
menopause at like 65. I'm
I
like,
think
it's not
sooner. I
fair.
think sooner for you.
Like, no, I don't know. It'll just prolong it.
Oh, I see what you mean, right.
I hope it's sooner rather than later. Anyway,
Yeah,
again,
no, back
we
to
digress.
Sophie, yeah.
Yeah, so didn't start like
Late
my
bloomer. Sorry, it's just the way that you
periods
word
until-
things.
What should I say?
Don't know.
How would you put it?
I don't know. Just made
Late
me chuckle.
starter?
Late starter, yeah.
Late blue? I don't know.
Yeah, anyway, right. And
So yeah,
Yeah.
15 before I sort of started my period anyway, and then
Yeah.
and then before I went on the pill, which wasn't a very overly long period. Like I don't think I was ever regular
Yeah.
even from starting a period. So
Yeah.
yeah, looking back, like there's loads of signs that maybe stuff wasn't quite.
But at
working.
15 years old, you're not thinking
And,
about
like I
that,
didn't
are you?
know, like probably being naive to it. Like when we started, like initially, just like right, yeah, we're gonna start trying for a baby. Like we're ready. Like time's right. Didn't once think like, oh well, my cycle's this long,
Yeah.
and that means I must ovulate at this point.
Yeah,
and
so
stuff.
we need to have
Because-
sex here.
Yeah, like
be pregnant.
I don't know. Like maybe you'll get some feedback from the podcast, but how many people? I'd love to know.
Yeah.
How many women go into the start of that knowing?
I think
All
if you
this
did
stuff.
though, wouldn't it just take away the
Well,
exciting
that's what I mean. Like I don't
experience?
think that you should be
No.
hyper aware of all these
No.
things, and
Because
yes,
then you're
fine.
planning to have sex.
Yeah.
At this, got to have sex at this day and this day and this
Exactly.
day. It just takes
Yeah.
fun
Yeah.
away from
Well,
it,
that's
doesn't
what we
it?
do now as a married couple.
Yeah.
What, book it in? See you at the bedroom at 9 on Friday.
Because
the
we've got to be
18th.
up early,
Yeah.
so let's get this done and dusted so we can have an early night.
Oh,
Well, yeah, and like I'm sure you both know, like it's fun starting to think about a family. Like,
Yeah.
you do like
because it makes you want to have sex more.
more sex, and then you start like putting in a bit more effort, don't you? Like,
getting
some nice underwear that you've not really worn for a while. Or, like it was really fun.
You spoiled Dan.
Jodie just lay on the bed like a king bed. Come on, get it over with.
Yeah, it was like really fun to begin with, but I think probably didn't take that long, like a few months in. I think definitely me, probably not Dan at that point, but definitely probably thinking like,
do you remember like your next, after you started trying, your next cycle, like your period coming and being disappointed?
Oh
on,
yeah,
like,
literally
month
from like month 1.
Yeah.
And then that feeling only ever like got
worse.
to the point like before we sort of start, well, not even before we started fertility, basically until I knew that I was pregnant. Like I used to get so upset. Like it like ruined my like the anticipation of it was horrendous, and then when it did actually come, it was just awful. It was like I know obviously like a lot, grief is a wide term, isn't it? Like, and I know a lot of women, including people in this room, like their grief for a loss of a baby is obviously incomparable, but that's probably the term, looking back on it now, that I can most relate it to. Like, and I don't mean it that it's the same. Yeah, it's not the same.
We say every episode, never compare your grief to anyone else.
Because a loss is a loss. Yeah. And you're looking at, like, say, your period is that.
Well, I think
a loss in the sense that it's that.
It was like every period that came was like a grief of a potential.
What could have been.
And another then like wait, like you've got to grieve it, and then it's like, right, let's try and build myself up for like next time. And but what if it's going to happen again next time? And that's sort of, I think, the mental cycle that you
it's just like you say, it's a reoccurring grief every month.
But like for a grief for something that you don't know, that you've never had it, so it's like a loss of something you've never had or experienced, which is such a different grief.
I think grief is like your category, but then there's subcategories under that, like disappointment, frustration, confusion. You know, there's so many other emotions that go along with that in that circumstance where, you know, and we say it all the time, it's a roller coaster. You go, you've got that hope, you've got that excitement, is it going to happen, and then that period comes and then
that's exactly what I would explain like every month to be. Just like the first, after you've got over that period,
I'm ready
like
to try
pick
again.
yourself up after like a couple of days or however long it would take, and then be like, oh, let's try and be hopeful, like again, like how can we make this, because
make it exciting.
After, I'm not like, there's no point sugarcoating it, like it doesn't become exciting, and like I'm sure Dan would say the same, like the anticipation of the needing to have sex, because like
it's you more might of a need than a want.
There might be that day or 2-day period that you need to, but in my case it was my ovulation.
I was just going to ask you, did you ever get into tracking ovulation?
Yeah, did it all, and it never came back positive for me, so it made it worse. So after a few months I was like, I'll try these ovulation sticks.
So you never got an indication that you were ovulating with these sticks?
If I ever got an indication that it was positive, it would then last for like 5 days, which we know isn't right. Like it's not right, but like I didn't go for the cheap ones, I went for the expensive ones. It literally give you like the smiley face on it. I think they're like the clear blue ones,
like
rather than just
ones,
the little
dip ones.
So like the amount of money, not that the money was ever a thought,
but still,
like just all of these things, and like you get yourself, like I got myself so bogged down in it that it then became even worse. So it was a while in, but I did get to the point where I had to just be like, I'm not doing them. Like I'm not doing these ovulation sticks. They literally make the upset worse because you get then that bit of hope, and then you can't be ovulating for 5-6 days. Like that's not how it works. Like your hormones don't work like that.
your ovulation period does go over a 5 or 6 day period.
Yeah,
doesn't
but
it?
the peak. Yeah.
So when you
Oh,
get
yeah,
like
the
the
peak,
smiley face on
Yeah.
the
Oh, so
on
the ovulation sticks only
sticks.
track the peak of your ovulation.
Well, they track you up to it,
Okay.
and then they give you like a smiley
Then they say
face.
it's like 24, 36 hours.
Yeah.
Have sex, you will get pregnant.
Yeah, basically.
To be fair, I actually have never used an ovulation.
No, I
scale,
haven't.
They're good. Like,
No,
great.
I've only like not even looked into it. I've only seen other people share it, kind of thing.
I've never.
No.
Like I say, because my cycle's been so regular.
Yeah.
And like I'm more hyper aware of my cycle now post
I think I am
baby,
post.
Yeah.
but it's because of my emotions.
Yeah.
I've never been able to track my cycle based on emotion before.
No, but you
and how
can
I'm
now.
feeling.
Yeah.
And now I can.
Yeah.
It's like I can pretty much tell when I'm ovulating, which is quite
That's
strange. I
really
know that sounds
interesting.
really
No,
weird.
it's really interesting.
But it's the way I feel, it's the way my appetite is, it's the way my mood is, you know, without going into too much information like how your
all
body's
the bodily
conducting yourself.
things, yeah.
Well,
They're all the things that you should be able to like.
Track.
You
Yeah.
shouldn't need the ovulation sticks
Sticks to
because
make
you
you
should be
aware.
able to tell from like your discharge, your
Yeah.
body, like your basal temperature. That's the major one. Like you should be able to track your temperature, and you have a peak on the day that you ovulate.
Right.
Like that's.
See, I've never done my temperature.
Did you end up doing that as well?
No, yeah, you should be able to like track your basal temperature, but you like even that. Oh, I take my temperature every day. Like, no, you have to take it literally before you move in the morning. You have to take it like right at the beginning of the day to get an accurate reading, because obviously as soon as you get up and start doing something,
you take temperature
it changes. So you've got to do it literally before you even move out.
It's
of
like
bed.
a military operation.
It literally is a military operation.
Yeah.
But these are all the things that like build in your mind, and like you end up spending like your month or however long it is trying to track these things. And again, I think a few months in, when I started to look in, because I think for a few months, like I didn't start looking into oh well, when should I be ovulating, and how do I know that I should be ovulating, and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, maybe I was a bit naive to start with, but as I've said, like I think that's the right place to start.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel like you should be hyper aware of all these things before you do. So I think a few months in, it quite quickly dawned on me that actually, like, I've never been able to track these things mid-month for ovulation, and I've never had feelings like I've never had bad PMS. I've never had overly bad period pains or anything like that, which are all signs that my hormone levels aren't doing what they should. As a I've always thought of it as a good thing. Like, oh, I don't get bad PMS. And I don't get these.
Has
like,
your PMS changed since you've had a child, or do you think it's fairly similar, or are your cycles different post birth?
Yeah, again, it took me a while to come back.
But you were breastfeeding, so
yes,
whether that played.
But
a part
after
in
I
it.
finished breastfeeding, it still took like the best part of 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Something
the best
like that.
part of 6 months, I think, to like return. But yeah, definitely different from beforehand. And I think again, because I'm hyper aware of it, I did notice a change of, as you've said, like the way that you feel, like my skin. And I know your postpartum skin, like nobody warns you about postpartum skin, do they, and stuff like that. Like I've never had, again, another sign of probably that my hormones aren't doing what they should.
Yeah.
I've never had bad breakout. I've never been able to track any of that
Hair
throughout
loss.
my cycle. Hair loss.
Horrific.
Yeah.
Hair loss is horrific. Postpartum hair loss, but then adding stress,
Hair loss,
yeah.
stress hair loss, and sepsis hair loss, and what was the other one?
Trauma.
Sepsis as well.
Yeah,
Oh.
low iron level hair loss.
Oh.
I could make a cat out of my hair loss.
Oh yeah. I'm a bit like that.
It's not funny.
No, it was terrible. Yeah, it's terrible.
But switching back on to Sophie's
I feel like
fertility journey.
Yeah.
So what were your first steps when you went from this isn't working? Obviously, we're not getting pregnant. What was the first thing that you did?
So
And what was your process?
we didn't do anything for a while, because I quite soon found, like, when you start obviously looking online and everything, like at our age, because we were pre-35, basically GP won't do anything until you've been trying for a year. So we sort of knew that, well, we'd probably try for that long, and not that it was easy up until a year, like a few months in, and I feel like most women that have been in the same experience as me, like, it gets tired and upsetting very quickly. I haven't spoken to anybody that within 6 months even hasn't then started feeling like this isn't working, this isn't happening, like there's something wrong, like this is upsetting each month. We did have like a 1 conception, so just over a year in. It must have been over a year in.
It was in the January, wasn't
in the January, because it was just before my 30th birthday, so I don't have the most brilliant memories of my 30th birthday. Had a lovely party, but that's probably about it. We did naturally conceive, but lost I think literally at like 5 to 6 weeks. I think I was sort of losing it as I found out, that sort of thing, but not that it makes it any easier, like as you know yourself, Jode, like it.
Well, it wasn't too far before.
No, it was.
I know
only
we found out
months
after the fact.
Yes, but I was the January. I think yours was the March, was it?
6th, 7th of March. Mine was.
Yeah. So, as you know, it doesn't matter. Like, I hate it, which I always say the same, when people class like a 5 to 6 week miscarriage as a chemical pregnancy, like, and then it's spoken about as if it doesn't matter. Like, it was only a chemical pregnancy. Like,
why would they class it as a chemical pregnancy?
So chemical pregnancies before it would be picked up on like anything other than you having a positive pregnancy test.
Like, we had a really early scan. Like, I'm not sure if I can't remember if you had, Jode. Like, we went in
for the miscarriage.
So we went into the early pregnancy unit. I didn't go into A&E. Okay. We went into the early pregnancy unit and they did a scan and like couldn't see anything.
So it's not visible.
So it's
on the
not
scan.
like they couldn't see a sac. They couldn't see any sort of implantation. So I think that's why it's then classed as like a chemical pregnancy, because it's never actually properly become a
pregnancy,
implanted pregnancy as such.
So what would mine be classed as?
Did you have a scan?
No. I had bloods.
How far away? How like far along do you think you were? I think it's literally like 5 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, it was between 5 and 6 weeks.
Yeah, anything post like 6 weeks, I think, is then classed.
Is it on your medical records?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
So do you know chemical pregnancies don't even go on your medical records, and I think it's disgusting.
Well, I went to A&E, so surely that would be on there.
So that would be.
So so I visited A&E. So it was a weekend.
Yeah.
And that's what I fell victim to, because I went into A&E, I rang you, I remember, because I was hoping you would be on shift, but you weren't.
No.
And basically your friend must like triage me, and they took bloods to test the pregnancy hormone.
I had to go into A&E for bloods because they were then, because they could, when I went on the scan, they couldn't track anything. You're then triggered as a potential ectopic. So then they had to do bloods every two days, was it every 2 days? Like that whole
to track your hormone levels of
So just going back to before you obviously went into the unit, just to give people a frame of reference, you took a positive pregnancy test.
I had a positive pregnancy test, but I took a pregnancy.
Why did you take a positive pregnancy test?
Because I had like an unusual period. So I'd sort of what I thought had come on, but it was not like a normal period. It was more what I thought was then like potential implantation spotting. Like
so you noticed differences.
There was a difference
and that drove you to do a pregnancy
I knew that
test.
what was happening wasn't right.
Your cycle.
So obviously, trying for over a year or over a year by this point, I was like, this could be implant. Like I read all of the things about everything. This could be implantation bleeding.
And was it a small amount of blood?
Quite a small, and it then like increased, which is why we then got referred into the early pregnancy unit. But took a pregnancy test and it was like positive. And honestly, like even though I was bleeding in some sense, and in the back of my mind already had that this could be not positive. I can't explain the feeling of that pregnancy test because it was the first time we'd ever had a plus.
Yeah.
Like, the first time. And I think that's why I get so upset when someone classes it, if I've spoken about it or whatnot, as like just a chemical pregnancy. Because
it
might be
it's the word
technically and medically not a real proper pregnancy, which I completely
positive. You are planning the rest of your life.
Exactly. Like, I know the due date. Like, I know that you do. Like, I know that baby was due on the 21st of September.
Yeah.
Like, it was. Because as soon as you've got that test, like, you go on the NHS, like, when's my baby due? What do I do?
Download the app.
When
do I ring to a midwife?
A chemical pregnancy makes no sense because at the end of the day, you know, you've been pregnant.
Yeah, some your hormones, like you've implant, like, you might not have implanted, which I guess is where we were. Like, we hadn't successfully implanted that embryo, but. Like, that had happened, and that had never happened. Like, you've been trying for so long to get to that point.
Relief of getting to that point.
I cannot explain the feeling, even though there was still this doubt and there always would have been a doubt in the back of my mind and anxiety and worry about it. I can't explain that feeling.
Yeah. Did you do it together? Or did you sneak off and do it?
No, I think Dan knew I was doing it, but it's the same when we had the pregnancy test for this. Like, I got up in the morning, like, I think I sort of said the night before, like, I'm going to do a pregnancy test in the morning.
Yeah.
So, like, I always wake up before he does. Like, I'll sneak into the bathroom. Like, not that there's any sneaking when it's in your own house, is there? But, then, like, literally came out of the bathroom and, like, same, exactly, sort of very similar with finding out that then I was pregnant. Obviously, we didn't know it was Milo at the time, but with Milo. But, and I think that is why I get so upset, because, like, no one's to, like, someone, like, it's like they're taking that away from
diminishes
you.
your
That was,
emotion
like, the
around
first
it.
time that we'd had that hope, and like it's just that hope of and now we've done this on our own. Like, I have ovulated this time, and, like,
and I have got pregnant.
There has been something that's happened. No,
some movement,
it hasn't
positive direction.
Successfully implanted, but something's happened that's never happened before. So don't take that away from me by just basically being like
disregarding it.
But I had to then be checked, because I then rang the GP, because, like, when you read things, it says ring your GP. Like, your GP doesn't want to know.
Yeah.
Like, GP doesn't want to know. They're not interested.
Why are you ringing me? You need to ring the midwives. And I'm like, well, who knows
Why
that?
does it say everywhere, like, online?
Ring your GP,
Ring your GP.
I did the same.
I rung you.
All that.
So when we first got the pregnancy test, I think that was on, like, a weekend, and on the Monday I rang the GP to say I've had a pregnancy test, but I have got some bleeding. And he basically said, like, leave it to the end of the week, and if you're still getting a positive pregnancy test, call back. So that's what we did, because I was still getting a positive pregnancy test. And then we went into the unit, and because they couldn't then see anything on a scan, you get flagged potentially as an ectopic pregnancy, because they can't see anything in your uterus.
Potentially in
they need to so that's why they then monitor your blood levels to check that your blood levels are reducing, rather than obviously increasing like they would do if it's a successful pregnancy. That was, like, a very weird few weeks, as I'm sure anyone that's had a miscarriage, or hi Jodie, I know, like, you've said the same sort of thing. Very weird, very upsetting. Like, that day that I actually was in A&E, because it was a weekend, like, it was a Saturday, so I was in SDEC, which is like the
same day emergency care.
Is that when you go in and it's
to the right?
To the right. Yeah, Randy put me in there as well.
Yeah, so I had, like, my blood test in there on the Saturday, because obviously it had to be, like, every 2 days or whatever. And the poor doctor, I don't think he had any idea that basically I was in there, because I thought, obviously, I was hoping that my blood would show an increase, and he was the one that basically told me that no, they were dropping. So I just completely broke down on this doctor, and I just, bless him, he did not know what to do with himself, and it was because it was COVID times.
You couldn't have Dan in.
Dan wasn't there, so Dan was at his mum's, like, waiting for a call from me to say because I was sat there for like for hours.
Same with us, because it was post-COVID.
Exactly.
Stephen was dropping me off pretty much knowing that I was miscarrying or probably miscarrying, and he just had to watch. He said that was so hard just watching me walk into A&E on my own and just
until Jenny knew who you were. Then she was like, "Go and get your husband."
Yeah. Your mate was like, "Where's your husband?" I was like, "He's not allowed in."
Yes, he
and
is.
she's like, "Just ring him." I've said he can come in. I was like, "Oh, okay."
But I think this is why these are all the hardest things but that was the hardest bits about like the miscarrying. It's all the emotion that goes. It's not even just the physicality of it. It's all the emotions linked to it. And then it was like, oh my God, we're gonna have to start again. We're gonna. This is like now. And then you're told to wait 2 months before you're like. Oh, like no, I can't. I literally remember sort of saying with like Dan, like I can't. I can't wait. Like this whole thing is waiting. Like I'm not.
It's a constant wait.
Yeah, and that is the hardest bit that like about the whole of infertility, going through IVF treatment or the parts of IVF treatment. It's the wait. It's just constant waiting. You're constantly waiting for middle of the month or middle of your cycle, whenever that falls. Because for me, I didn't know, so that was always difficult. And the constant waiting for, are you going to have a period? And then the constant waiting for the next month, and it's just all of it is.
I was just going to ask you, because obviously we've already discussed this, but the other listeners won't have. With you not knowing when your cycle is and when like your period's expected, because it would never have been around the same.
No.
Were you taking pregnancy tests roughly around when, like before you had your miscarriage? Was that your first pregnancy test that you took?
No.
So you'd been taking.
So,
I know that you were taking a lot of pregnancy tests.
Yeah, and I don't like looking back on it. Like it. I don't know why I put myself through it, but when you're in it, you can't. Because my periods were, I say that they're irregular. They were never sort of 1 month 30 days, the next month 60 days, the next month like 4. They were always around 5 to 6 weeks. So I always,
there was some regularity.
There was some regularity, but not. I never had like clear signs of ovulation. Like never ever. I've probably only had that since giving birth. And still not like overly clear, but giving me more of an indication probably. Like I feel like I've been able to read it like a little bit more, and I've had more signs. But yeah, so I always knew around. So if it went like over 40 days, I'd be like, I'm probably wrong here. Like I'm pregnant.
So that was your sort of your number in your mind.
Yeah. So if I got to 40 days,
you've not
I think
seen
it
a
was.
period.
I'd take. So if it got to like 38 days, and then my period came, I'd like absolutely devastated, because I'd be like that hope again of like, oh, if it gets to over 40, it might be, or if it gets to over 42 days, like it could be.
How difficult did it get? Again, like we know, but just explain how it took its toll on you.
I can't explain it, and it's awful, but it is the worst. Like I thought I had, and I have had not major struggles with my mental health in the past, but like as I've sort of said, like I have had bouts of anxiety before and whatnot. I have never been in the worst mental health place than with fertility, which it feels like ridiculous, because you're trying to start. No, but like it feels like it is, because you're trying to start. Like starting a family is an amazing thing.
Yeah.
It's a massive milestone. It's a huge thing. It's absolutely amazing. So to be in the worst mental place that you've ever been, because of that, I think that's a bit of the battle.
Yeah.
And then I wasn't going to go back to the doctors to ask for anything or to go on any medication, because obviously that combats, works against you getting pregnant, because you shouldn't, like, ideally, in an ideal world, you shouldn't be on anything when you're trying to get pregnant. Like, they try and get you off these things or to the lowest level of these. Like, yes, don't get me wrong, there are pregnancy and trying to conceive safe, like medications for depression and anxiety. Like there'll be plenty of women out there that have had a successful fertility journey, or
but for you,
fertility treatment journey, should I say, that are on
you just
various medications.
A potential barrier.
But it was like it was another thing. Like, well, if I go to the doctors and they put me on sertraline, for example, I'm only ever going to second guess myself that.
Is that contributing to
even though that's a safe
that
one,
having.
like that's one that you can be on when you're trying to start a family or when you're pregnant. That would have always played on my mind that, is that now a delay? Yeah. So mentally, I was in a really bad, dark place, like probably post miscarriage. It had got quite bad before that, but post losing that, whatever everybody wants to class
that baby,
like that year. So that was the January, and then we started fertility treatment we had our first appointment at the fertility clinic in the August. So that year...
Was this 21?
22.
22, right,
So the year I was 30.
Yeah.
So because Sophie had her miscarriage probably about 8 weeks before me.
Yeah.
6 to 8 weeks before me.
With it,
And I got pregnant quite quickly with Bonnie, so it was about 8 weeks later I got pregnant with Bonnie, so that was 22 because she was born in the 23.
Because I remember, obviously, when I was on maternity with Lila, we used to meet weekly.
Oh, I used to like break down
and it was the hardest thing sitting like listening to Sophie, because I had a baby and that's all she wanted. And like you could see how amazing mum you were going to be when your time come, but we used to sit in coffee shops and cry together, and I know, because I can remember it like it was yesterday, how difficult that journey was for you. And I remember saying, Sophie, you need to go to the doctors and go on medicate. No, and I remember having these conversations with you, but I can't be on that because I'm like, it won't. But
no, but you would just, I would know like how. Like, personally for me, I would have because you second guess everything.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
If I thought potentially that I could have potentially ovulated, I'd barely want to go out and do stuff just because, like, if I've implanted, like, what if then it falls out? Like, going completely off par, like, I'm pregnant with twins and did a skydive before I knew I was pregnant. Like, they don't just fall out, which is like proof that they don't just fall out. Once they're in there, they are in there. But like that's all the things that like
but that's where your mind goes.
Like that's where like you like that's where that's what that's what happened for me. Obviously, I can't speak for everybody, but I know from speaking to some different people that it's quite like a mindset across sort of infertility experience, but.
So that
year, you don't want to put anything to chance.
No, and like obviously, like see, like you fell pregnant in that period. You had Lila in that period. Like as friends, family, like absolutely delighted. Like I could not have been happier for you all.
Yeah.
But on the I'm not gonna lie, I didn't go home and cry like when people used to tell me they were pregnant, or like I used to love seeing you and Lila. But it was gorgeous, but. So difficult on the other side of it.
Yeah, unfortunately, you understand that now.
Yeah. But so that year.
I always say it's like, you understand this. A lot of people understand this when you're going through, when you want something so much and you see
everybody's
whatever point
pregnant.
of time you are in terms of whether you've already got children or you don't have children, you want more children and you want to grow your family. You're never any less happy for that person.
No.
But it always tinges with sadness because you want that so desperately.
And like it does feel like, I'm sure like everybody, I'm sure most women would agree, or not just women, obviously men, but then it feels like there's pregnant women everywhere.
Everybody.
So like as soon as like could not get pregnant and we were struggling to get pregnant, it felt like the whole world was getting pregnant. And I know we were at the certain age at the time, so a lot of Facebook announcements were like pregnancy announcements or whatever, but like it feel like everywhere you turned there was either a baby or someone that was pregnant, and that's all you see. Whereas there's no more now, or there was no more 10 years ago.
Just maybe
There's
more
at the time. You're
yeah.
just so like hypersensitive to it because it's just all that fills you. It just completely consumes everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like everything.
Yeah. So when was it? At what point did you and Dan think we need to look into this more?
Yeah. So probably not like long after the January.
Yeah.
So, but we got. I think I did speak to the GP, but they still, basically, the GP still weren't willing to do anything. And luckily, I have private medical through my employer.
Yeah.
So through work, I have private medical. So I ended up going down the private medical route.
Yeah.
And in the midst of this, I had my gallbladder out. I'd forgotten about that. So in 2021, when we hadn't been probably trying for about 6 or so months. I went to the doctors because I thought like I was having abdominal pains. So I was then, again, because you're so then, oh, well, what could that be? Which 6 months ago I wouldn't have even thought about it, but I was thinking, oh, is it polycystic ovaries or something? So I went to the GP and they referred me for a scan. Went for an ultrasound scan and basically found out that I needed my gallbladder out. So that then became this massive like blocker and like delay, because then that was through COVID. So again, luckily I had that done through work privately, because if I hadn't have done, I would have probably been on a wait list for the NHS for like over a year, but I had it out within 2 months of it being found. My gallbladder had been removed. So that was like a blocker. And then like I remember my mum saying to me, obviously just trying to be helpful, like, oh, well, maybe that was what was wrong. Like, once your gallbladder's out, like, maybe, like, you'll fall pregnant, won't you? So, obviously, when that
and then you hold on to that hope.
you hold on to it.
You're like, oh, maybe.
Maybe. Like, oh, well, this will happen now. So, yeah, luckily then, obviously, with having the private medical, it got to the point where I was like, I need to go and do something. So, I went to see a gynaecologist privately who put me on Clomid for 6 months. So, in the...
And what does that do for
so
people who
Clomid
don't know?
is probably your first for my journey, and I think it's for a lot of people, it would be like the first point of fertility, not
any treatment,
not fertility treatment,
the first
go-to, but the first go-to. So Clomid is a medication that basically encourages you to ovulate. Okay. So it should make you ovulate.
Okay.
In complete like layman's terms. So you go on it for, I know the NHS and privately are slightly different on dosages and when they put the dosage up. But for me, so it's 6 months, and a lot of the time you're not allowed to be on it for more than 6 months because it can increase, because of the chances of increasing ovarian cancer. So they don't like putting you on Clomid for more than 6 months. I'm pretty sure there's probably people out there that have been on it for longer than 6 months, but I could only talk from sort of my experience and other people that I know have only ever been on it for 6 months. So I had it for, you sort of done like a lower dose for the first month, and then every month I'd have to go for a blood test to see if I'd then ovulated. Mm-hmm. So you had to have a blood test on like day 1 of your cycle and a blood test on day 14. I hope I've got this right, because I'm going to sound stupid. 14 or 16, just post ovulation. So first month I went for my blood test, hadn't ovulated, and then my private gynaecologist put my dose up from month 2. But I know from a friend's experience that they didn't have their dosage put up till month 3. After month 3, so halfway through the 6 month period. Mm-hmm. But from first month, so from the next 5 months, I was on the higher dose and didn't ovulate.
Okay.
So the hope is obviously that you have Clomid, it makes you ovulate and you fall pregnant. Yeah. So you'd have your blood test at day 16. It would show that yes, your progesterone basically levels had peaked, which would, like, it had to be over a certain level to show that you'd ovulated. Yeah. And then 2 weeks later you'd take a pregnancy test and you'd be pregnant. And I think there is plenty of success stories out there for Clomid, but for me it didn't work. So after that it was like, well, nothing's gonna work. Like it definitely feels like we were basically going to IVF. Yeah. Because
that's the next step.
If that medication, which is quite high, hasn't made me ovulate. Like, nothing's going to make me ovulate.
Okay.
How did that make you feel?
Just, again, every month it was like this. I mean, I think it felt better because it was something proactive.
Yeah.
Like, I'll say that throughout sort of when we then started treatment. It was yes, there was still like loads of waiting, and it was obviously really hard, but at least it felt proactive. Like we were doing something. Yeah. There was hope because we were actually trying something rather than just month after month of nothing and nothing and nothing. So yeah, really difficult. Like I remember literally, I ended up, even though I'd gone private for the gynaecologist, I could get blood tests with the NHS sooner than private. So I went to the Bupa hospital, local Bupa hospital, for the gynaecologist appointments, and I basically then ended up going back to the NHS in between. So there was so much management of it, because I was like, right, I need to book in with that person for that time and that hospital to see that at that point, but then need to go to our local blood clinic at this day, and like obviously I had to book all that in, and it was all self-managed, so just so like again really consuming, but
and overwhelming.
I was like, it felt proactive to be doing it. But yeah, every month when I get my blood results, and it was just like no, like it's under the minimum, because it was like self-explanatory. I knew from looking at my blood sheet I didn't need someone to tell me. It was like obvious, and literally said like no sign of ovulation. So every month when I got that, it was just like, and then after about probably month 3, I was like, well, it's not worked the last 3 months, like it's not going to work the next 3 months, which it didn't. So after that point, I then basically went to my GP and asked for an IVF referral, and because I'd had the private gynecology basically report to say,
we've tried this
is what we've tried, my guidance would be next steps is IVF. Like, I didn't even have to see my GP. My GP just basically put a referral. And luckily, because I then thought, like, the wait list, because post-COVID, the wait list for IVF was huge, from my understanding. Like, people had said that they'd been sort of waiting 6 months or whatnot to even, like, get at the door, like, the foot in the door of a clinic. But from getting my GP referral, I had my first appointment within 2 weeks or 3 weeks. I think it was 3 weeks,
quite quick.
which was really quick. Like, I thought it was like a mistake. Like, I thought it was like an appointment with the clinic to basically go in to be told it will be 6 months. Like, yes, blah blah blah, but it'll be 6 months before we can start. So to actually walk in and then be like, start the initial tests and do everything, felt like amazing. Like, it's still not, because it wasn't a great place to be, but again, like, it was just a lot quicker than anything than anticipated. So from that point, that was in the August
of 22.
And again, like, because all the tests have to be at certain points in your cycle, I just remember getting really frustrated because I could not read my cycle, and I knew that no, it might not be 60 days, but it could still be like 35 days, and it was just really difficult to gauge it all. It just then felt like it was just a delay all the time, like you're just constantly waiting for like your next cycle, because your blood test for your AMH reserve needs to be on this day of your cycle, or the blood test for this needs to be on this day of your cycle, and it was like, well, I've got to wait
How
again.
long's a piece of string?
But yeah, we were like really happy with our clinic. It's one of our local area clinics, so I definitely recommend it. I have recommended it for people that I've spoken to that are obviously in our local area. So that was the August, and then we had our initial test the next few months, and I started...
And just to be clear, test-wise, you were going into this thinking this was an issue with you.
Yeah. So, yeah, we knew by this point, so part of...
Because Dan ever had any tests just to check that he was functioning okay?
Functioning the right way.
Is functioning the right way?
Well, yeah, I suppose
I guess so.
I don't want to use the performing.
Well, no.
Checkers swimmers.
Yeah. So, no, he'd already had a check for that.
And that was all clear and fine.
Yeah, that was like before I went to the private gynaecologist.
Yeah.
So before we even went that far...
Is it, if I'm speaking out of turn, tell me, it's it's less invasive, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
so
they literally just do a sample. That's
yeah,
it.
exactly.
That is the only
that's what I mean.
test
So
that a bloke
this
needs.
is why
they don't get prodded and poked.
Yeah. So it's
And everything
always the first
no
point
blood
of call,
tests,
isn't there?
nothing.
That is always the first port of call,
before
is to test a man, because it's a straight and simple test.
Yeah, because you would be... I mean, obviously, if you needed IVF because of the bloke, you would need to still, as a female, go through all of that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so the November... This is like the November before the
January.
January.
So it's coming up for a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'd had... So we had to do another one with the clinic.
Yeah.
But he'd already had a test
before
Yeah.
Like, probably just as I started going to see the private gynaecologist, he went for a test. Again, his GP, like, he got that quite easily. Like, his GP just referred him for that. I think it seems everything seems simpler from the bloke's side.
Everything's simpler for men.
I'm not saying that it's simpler from the bloke's side if the fertility issue was on their side. But if it is just a case of needing a sample and then obviously the results from that sample. So Dan, no problems at all. I think we knew early on that generally it was me anyway, but they like to then rule out like secondary infertility. So he was absolutely fine. So they had to do more checks for him
once
at
you were
the
under
clinic.
But
I still don't think he ever had any blood tests or anything. I think it was just a case of like, well,
sperm sample and off
sample's
you go.
fine. Like off you go. Like,
well, that's literally their only contribution to the whole process, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
I always say the hard work is definitely not done by the men.
No.
I'm sure.
Not physically.
Oh, of course they would. Yeah. Okay. So so we knew Dan was fine.
Yeah, fine. Yeah. So we started going through like different tests throughout like the September, October, and then I started. I mean, everybody's IVF regime will be different, so I'm not saying that my experience and my regime is the same as everybody else. Everybody's IVF.
Well, the core issue of infertility can be very, very different.
Exactly. So our fertility problem was my ovulation, as I've sort of indicated. So that's been confirmed sort of quite early on, really. So basically no signs of ovulation, or if there was,
it's so irregular
that I could never track it. But very little sign that I was ever really ovulating. And believe me, we tried at like all of the different times throughout the cycle. Like,
all day.
There was a lot of trying.
No stone unturned.
And like taking a step back, I think that is where, like, I've obviously only spoken about it from my side, but from like my husband's side, from the bloke side, Dan, and I hope he doesn't mind really me saying, but I'm sure he would agree, and I know that he would agree, and I'm sure most blokes in this situation would agree. It gets hard to then the pressure to perform.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
oh, 100%.
And like it becomes like it wasn't fun for me
a chore.
either. Like,
It's a task.
Yeah,
isn't it?
but I remember then getting like through trying, I would end up getting. It sounds awful, but like upset. Like if we then hadn't had sex when I thought that we needed to have sex.
Yeah.
I remember like getting inconsolably upset because it was like. But
You
this might be our only chance this month.
And you've missed it.
Yeah.
So that added even
more pressure.
So it was just like this horrible little.
Like you say, you just lose. You go from exciting.
Oh yeah, it's an exciting start, and then it just like drops down. Like, and as you said with the roller coaster, it just drops down the cliff. Yeah. And then every time. You then start like getting to the point of like, oh, maybe it might be this week or whatnot.
Yeah.
I started to feel like the tense from Dan, like the tension and the pressure, because he knew that that's where we were about to go, and he then felt, because obviously he really wanted a family as well, so it wasn't like it was just me wanting this baby, like he wanted it, but that was even worse.
The upset
on
and
me,
like
how much pressure I was putting on myself. So it's just like a vicious circle for like both sides. Like I'm not that side of it. It isn't all sat with the female.
Yeah.
No.
Like I think the female would feel does feel like I know I did, because I knew that it was me that was the problem. So all that pressure did sit with me.
Yeah.
Because it was me that was the fault. It was me that was stopping us having a family. It was me that, like, we're made to have children. We're women. We are made. That is what we are put on the earth to do.
And we've said this. We've said this. It's like, why? Totally different reasons. All three of us. Why is her body
like failed us? And I know, Nicole, like I know that you feel the same. Seeing for the different side of it, and like.
It's the emotion that goes along with it. It's the same though, whether the circumstance is different. It's like.
My body's failed me.
You're failing to conceive. Why is my body not
supposed
to carry a baby?
It's what my hormones are designed to do.
Yeah, and it's the same when your water's broke. So why is my body done that? You know, and then why? It's like when I had my daughter. Why would she come out? Like, why couldn't I physically birth her? Like, I don't understand. Like, why my body failed to do that. It's the same emotion for different reasons.
So I think you fail. Like, I felt like I was failing, like, as a mother, because obviously I couldn't be a mother. Like, as a female, because I wasn't doing what a woman's body should do. Like, as a wife. Because you get to the point and like, well, you're the wife, you give birth, you have a child, like that's and like that. I mean, that's a lot of society pressure as well, but that's a whole that's a whole different podcast. Like the second you give birth, like, well, when are you going to have another one? Like, no, like, no idea of your experience. And I think that's the hard thing. Like, I remember going to like a family funeral of all places, and this woman. This older lady, which certain women of a generation, like, absolutely.
They still deserve to be punched in the face.
This older lady, I remember, like, never met this woman before. I have it's a family funeral, but
that's even worse.
No idea who she was.
Yeah.
And literally had been speaking to this lady for not even a minute. And was questioning where were my children? Like, why have I not had any children? Basically.
So let me tell you, love.
But like it then like
makes you feel like a failure again.
Oh my god! Like I can't explain the feeling. Like I didn't know what to say. I felt like literally like walking off and like bawling my eyes out because.
But why is that not okay to turn around to that woman and say that is not an appropriate question to
actually
ask?
I'd have liked to have a child 2 years ago or 3 years ago. Thank you, but like,
I don't really fancy telling somebody I've met at a funeral that I don't know that I've spoken to for 1 minute that I'm struggling to get pregnant. So thank you for that.
But like that's the problem. Like, and then like again, like I'm sure you both had it. Like the second you've given birth, like, so when do you think you'll have another? Then it's like
you felt that.
Yeah.
Massively after Luna. Didn't someone say that to you?
The doctor said it to me as soon as she told me my water's broke. She said, "Don't worry, it doesn't mean it'll happen next time." And Luna was still alive in my tummy, and I was like, "What?" Like,
and this is a doctor.
It's like mental. Like it's. Like, it's why people feel like they need to then portray that feeling on you.
Yeah.
Like felt lucky that we even had one child. So the thought of already thinking like this pressure of when are you going to have your next? Like it's taken me like 3 years to get here. Like hang on.
And I think it's just like I'm very much for like free speech in today's society. I'm like not to go down this woke down like the woke political route. Like I find that a lot of people are very oversensitive nowadays. You can't say anything without getting in trouble. However, I think that there's certain things that people need educating about, and they shouldn't ask these sort of personal questions. It's like I remember going back to when me and my husband, not then husband, were together, and it was like, when you get engaged, and I remember him feeling a huge amount of pressure to propose, and then when it was when you're getting married, as soon as you're married, literally you've just got your ring on your finger, and it's when you're gonna have a family, and then
we had that a lot, like with literally having like 10 years,
because she had 10 years, and it's just like why is it anybody else's business? And I think it's just this it's not out of malice. We've said this.
No,
it's,
and
it's lack of education, and it's usually from people that haven't had these types of struggles, or trauma or loss, that say those insensitive things without realising they are insensitive.
That does lead on to something I've probably like not touched on yet. I think that you've exactly like hit nail on the head, because if you then like, once we didn't open up, like I didn't talk to a lot of people, like probably nobody for a while that we started trying for a baby. Like I remember my mum randomly asking, I think we were about 6 months sort of in, and because it was before I'd had I'd found out about my gallbladder, I think, and I remember her like just sitting in the garden, and I remember her saying like, "Are you and Dad not going to have any children then?" Like, this is like my mum, obviously innocent mum. My mum has been desperate to be a grandparent for like. If I'd have got pregnant straight after we got married,
she would have minded.
Over the moon.
And you're the bloody youngest.
Exactly. Like, she'd have been absolutely over the moon. So she just asked like this off the cuff, like question. Like, not that I've ever
Karma's a bitch,
told her that
she's got 3 all in quick succession.
Well, she's got 5.
Nearly.
Well, 5.
Yeah. All buses come at the same time, don't they? So and she made this comment about like, so I think because like we'd moved into a new house and stuff, so I think she thought, oh, maybe
this is the next step.
Like, been married like nearly coming up for 10 years.
Get on with it.
And she made this like off the cuff comment, and it was the first time I think that I told her, like, and I think it's the first time I'd said it to anybody that like, oh, actually, like, we have and it's not happening, and she didn't know what to say, because I think that she then felt like
bad for what she said.
But I remember it so vividly, because I remember it being the first time I'd like said it out loud, like with anyone apart from Dad, obviously, that actually like
we're
struggling, and his parents, which I think there's always a difference, isn't there? Like, but I don't think we told his mum until like just before we had our miscarriage. I'm going to call it a miscarriage because
that's what it was.
That's what it was. Whatever the technical term is, like.
See, I don't have any trouble with that. I've always called it a miscarriage.
I think it's because everybody's told me so much that it wasn't classed as a miscarriage. I feel uncomfortable saying it's miscarriage. Like, and I don't think I've ever said that out loud before.
But you were very similar circumstances, isn't it? You were at a very similar point, but nobody ever said chemical pregnancy to me, ever.
See, all I get here is, like, chemical pregnancy.
I've heard the term before, don't get me wrong, but in my circumstance, nobody ever said chemical pregnancy. They all said miscarriage, and we've seen this before. It's like different doctors, different trusts, different medical professionals. They all use different terms, but you call it what you want to call it. Because it was your loss. Nobody else's loss.
My experience, isn't it? So but I think we literally told Dan's like mum pretty much like the month before we then had a miscarriage that like, oh, we had been trying and it's not happening.
But
so that was like a year in.
But so I remember
that was like post gallbladder. That was way after like we'd started trying. But so I remember that conversation with my mum, because I think it was like the first time. And I can't remember when I first sort of opened up to you guys about it. That might be. I think it was after you'd had Lila.
21 miscarriage, January 22.
I think it was after you'd had Lila.
I think we knew, obviously, when you'd had your miscarriage, that we knew that this...
Yeah, but I think you... So, this is something that I wanted to talk to you about, is I've found during your journey, you have been quite close. It's been quite a private journey, and that's absolutely, totally personal preference for the person that's going through it. But I remember vividly when I text our friendship group to tell you all that I'd had a miscarriage. And this was in the March.
I think that was, that's when
I remember, I don't know whether your emotions were the same. I remember when it first happened, I know you knew because you were my first phone call, but post confirmation of miscarriage, which was like 2 days later, after going into an A&E, I didn't want to talk to anybody.
No.
Nobody. I just didn't want to tell anybody. I didn't want to talk to anybody. And that's unusual for me because my default is I'd rather talk about it and get it off my chest and, you know, and share the load, like problem shared is problem halved or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
And I completely shut down and I didn't want to speak to anybody. And then after a few weeks, I was like, my mind thought,
you need to.
I need to tell my friends.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I don't want anybody else to feel alone if they go through something similar, you know. And again, it's a bit like say, sharing that burden. And you immediately text me. I was in the bath. I remember.
I rang you, didn't I?
I think I was in the bath, and you must have rung me. I'm not sure, but I remember sending that text, and you did ring me.
I rang you.
You rung me, and then you told me that you'd been through a miscarriage a few weeks earlier. And I think you said something on the phone. You were like, you've made me want to talk to you about it or something.
Yeah.
Because now I understand.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking, oh, Sophie must have been feeling so alone all those weeks.
Yeah.
But your default is to not.
Yeah.
I think my default was to not talk.
I think I've always been more sort of
private.
Close probably. And I don't know, I think I wouldn't say it's because like I've ever felt ashamed of it. Like as I've said, like I've massively felt like a failure, but it's not like I ever felt ashamed of the fact that I'd had a pregnancy, a miscarriage, or that I hadn't conceived. But I think it got sort of to the point that it was like, once I now, like when I do share, it felt like such a huge thing to talk about that I didn't know how to talk about it in a way.
I have a feeling I think I knew individually about both of yours, and I was like, I wish the girls would tell each other. Because, you know, like I'd never been through it. Yeah. And obviously I can only sympathise with you both. I could never empathise with you. And I'm sure I knew about, because obviously, like we said, we used to meet up regularly anyway. So we
I think you did know Sophie quite.
And I remember when you were telling me about yours was before.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, I wish these girls would tell each other. So then when you did put it in the group, and that obviously then prompted Sophie to speak to you.
Yeah.
Because like you say, that it's awful for you to be in the same situation, but you could share similar feelings and things.
Yeah.
You sort of then connect.
I think it was just more that connection of like you're not on your own. I think it's normalising the feelings.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
You feel like all these different emotions, but I think you think at the time like,
I think you're losing the plot.
Is it just me that feels like this, or like how am I supposed to feel about this? Is this right? So I think I felt like I just needed to, obviously as a friend as well, but just to be like, everything that you're feeling right now is like really normal. And like, if you need to cry for 5 days or a week or a day or however long you need to cry, well, that's fine. Like whatever you need to do to get over it is absolutely fine. Like that's normal. It's fine. You deal with it as you deal with it, don't you? Like with with anything. But I don't know. I've never really been able to say like why we didn't. I think it's
such a personal thing.
I think it's because like month on month, I just thought like, oh, I'll end up talking about it, and then next month they'll be being asked, and I think that was a lot of it, that I didn't want to be asked, and not
pressure,
that anyone would have minded me, but it was like additional pressure that
right. So
if all these people know, is then the pressure and expectation going to be like every time we meet up? Not that I'm saying that as a friendship group there would have been any of this pressure, but I'd have felt this pressure of being like, do I need to say like, oh no, it's not happened yet, or no, it's not happened yet, or is it just going to then feel like normal, or like I didn't want it to affect any of the relationships that I had, either friendship, and I don't think I've really ever like properly thought about it before. But I think it was more that I didn't want it to become like, and I didn't want I didn't want people's sympathy.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big
I felt
part
like
of it.
that.
Like I didn't
I thought as
want
soon as people
to
know,
feel sorry for me.
I'll get upset, and then
then
inevitably you've got to talk about it. You'll know this that whenever you've suffered a loss, if people know they treat you differently or they don't.
And I think I felt about that
very
with
different,
like the
but
infertility thing as a whole. Like I didn't
it
want
plays into
anyone like feeling sorry for me that it wasn't happening, or like I don't know.
It's so personal as well that you want to just keep it.
And actually, talking about it is medicine. It is better. Like
Medicine.
It
Medicine,
does help, and it just does help. I think we're talking about anything to like rationalise your own feelings and thoughts.
Yeah.
Just to be able to like speak your thoughts out loud helps, especially to people like your nearest and dearest that you've known for a gazillion years, and like there's no judgment ever and whatnot. But yeah, it did take me a long time to, and I think it probably didn't help the fact that then you had Lila, so I didn't want to talk to you about it because I was like, well, you've got a new baby and it's gorgeous and I love to see it. And it was like a bit of escapism.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of it, like going out for tea with you guys to all of you be oblivious to it, and we didn't talk about it and it wasn't part of a conversation. It was like escapism from my own, because my whole world was revolving around it. It was like escapism.
There's
totally
a couple of hours where you
that.
didn't have to think about what the next steps were.
And like I didn't talk to a lot of family. I think my mum knew before most, but I obviously, as you know, like one of my sisters, like I'm really close to both my sisters, especially like one of my sisters that lives like round the corner. She's my niece is like 6 weeks between Milo and my niece. But like that seems madness because we did not plan to have children. Like I think everybody assumes when me and my sister say that our kids are so close together, like, oh, did you plan it that way?
No,
and it's just this assumption. Like, oh, did you plan it that way? Like,
and then your other sister.
Like,
what's the age gap between Milo and your other sister's child?
8 months.
Yeah,
so there's like 9 months between.
So literally a gestational period.
We were all pregnant at the same time. Which is quite madness for 3 sisters. Yeah, and like people I was think that's the, oh, did you plan it like that? Like, what is that? Like,
no.
I am mesmerised when people tell me. Like my sister has a medic friend, and I think this is quite like common in the medic community. I mean, you might be able to tell me more, Nicole. But like my sister's friend literally planned it that at that stage between her completing this qualification and starting her consultancy training, for example, between that stage and that stage, she's going to have a baby like that month. And she did. Like, people like can, like, and for me that is mind-blowing that you can try and like, I know a lot of teachers try and plan it that way as well, don't
around
they?
Like term times.
They have like around term times, around the summer, so they basically like
have more time off.
Go back to work for a couple of weeks and then have the summer holidays off. And I think like a lot of people manage to do it, but it is mind blowing for me that like so when me and my sister get asked like, oh, did you plan it that way? Like, no, absolutely not. Like, we would have had kids 3 years ago. Like, we'd have been on... I always thought, because I'm the youngest of 3, so my 2 sisters are older, and my eldest sister, who does have my niece that's 6 weeks older than Milo, they weren't even sure that they would have kids. Like, they've always said it. Like, they weren't sure that it was even going to be in their plan, and that if they did have, they'd only have 1, which is what's happened so far.
Never say never.
But like, I thought we would be on our our sort of rough plan. If I'm going to put plan, I am doing this with my fingers. No one can see me. Well,
they can.
Most people can't. Like, our rough thought was that I always knew. I think that I would have kids before my sisters. Like, that's what I like. And if we'd have caught sooner, we would have done. I think we always thought we'd be on our second, because we always hoped
you'd be slightly further down your family
that
journey.
We'd be on our our second would be the same sort of age as maybe nieces or nephews, not that our first would be, and that then our subsequent children will actually be the youngest. We just never thought that it would happen that way. So the thought that that's happened, that we're so close together, which is lovely that they're so close together. But it's weird, like it is just mad how that's ended up, because that was never, that's all because of our infertility, because that would not have happened if we'd have caught sooner. But
thank you all for listening to part 1 of Sophie's story. You can listen to part 2 in episode 21, where we delve into more details of her journey. Thank you for listening.